bushra, one of those who harvest. Today we're in our peach orchard, and yeah, I'm currently busy mulching. So we mulch for many different reasons. One being this grass. I'm not sure if you can see it, but we call it queergrass. It's also known as Bermuda grass. But what happens is the roots form this thick, dense mat layer that essentially takes a lot of nutrients and water away from our trees, which of course we don't want. So what we've trying to double with this year is actually mowing it down in autumn. And autumn is when our trees grow their feeder roots. So we've mowed it down in autumn to try and suppress their root growth. Another reason we mulch is to increase the fungal colony in our orchard. So fungus is kind of a communication barrier between the trees themselves and the nutrients in the soil. And then lastly, we mulch to keep the soil temperature, in a similar range, so it doesn't vary too much, and also retain water. We, as you can see, irrigate with micros, and so water retention is definitely something that we need to contain and keep as much moisture in the trees as possible, especially in South Africa that's probably looking like we're going into another drought. So as you can see, I've cleared all the queergrass as possible away from the tree, and I've mulched a bit on this side. So what we're mulching with actually is thatching grass. This has been untreated, and this particular batch that we have has actually been standing out for quite a while, so it's started to decompose a bit, which isn't too bad because that just means that there's more compost for the trees. Ideally you want to use something like wood chips or something that takes a bit longer to decompose, but we have to use what we have. So as you can see, I'll just show you an example, mulching around the tree. So you want to do quite a thick layer to basically, when it's really cold, keep the tree warm, the roots warm, and when it's really hot, to keep the soil cool. Another tip when mulching trees, specifically trees, is essentially you don't want the mulch to be touching the tree trunk. If it does touch the tree trunk, you often have the trunk might start rotting, especially when you irrigate it, and obviously if it rots from the bottom, the whole tree eventually dies, and that's not what we want. So we basically just do a layer like that, and I'll do another layer so that it's just a little bit thicker. The nice thing about this grass is that you can just break it really easily, so you can fit it to any form that you want. Sorry, tree. There we go. Just sort of compact it a bit. Here you can see that it's starting to decompose a bit, as opposed to those fresh ones which were lying on top. But like I said, that's okay for the tree. Maybe a little bit more here. So I'm not sure if you can see the radius of the actual mulching pile, but essentially you want to mulch as wide as the tree is. Obviously you have outlying branches that are a bit too wide, but it's essentially called the drip radius, and that means when it rains, the water from here will drip to about here, so we can actually put a bit more. We can make this quite a bit wider. and that's essentially making sure that you sort of cover majority of the root space.